and presented and constructed submission. Thank you very much for coming in. So, Marie Graham, I'm sorry, Marie. I've just been to Specsavers as well. Hi.
Tēnā koutou, talofa. Good. Can you hear okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marie Graham, and I am here today as a fifth-generation resident of our coastal communities of New Brighton, living most of my life at South Shore. Thank you for the opportunity to communicate our thoughts on the current draft LTP, and also to communicate a big thank you from our South Shore residents for the funding in the LTP for our outstanding earthquake estuary edge repair of our eroded estuary edge damage caused by Sarah. I want to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of every one of you as we continue to rebuild our wonderful city and now face the need for changes and innovation in our local government systems and operations as we face the uncertainties of climate change that could happen in our city. We are so excited to see the necessary funding in the 2023 to 2034 LTP for adaptation planning and action. At the same time, some concern arises because of the lack of detail provided and what exactly this large portion of our public funding will fail or succeed in delivering. Many important lessons have been learned since the time of the post-earthquake rush in local government to classify our land and to start regenerate processes of conversations around possible future hazards and risks across our city. As South Shore, we, with South New Brighton being the first cab off the rank, were tasked with creating the community engagement model of how local government of CCC with ECAN staff could best facilitate conversations in partnership with local communities around possible futures risks of climate change. 14 years of work as coastal residents, as community leaders in a range of different community development projects across East Christchurch, and involvement as a leadership team member working with Regenerate Canterbury, also work in the coastal adaptation process, and being a member of our South Shore Residents Association, has led to a consensus of the conclusion that the risks of flooding, erosion and low groundwater are spread across our whole city, and that the best adaptation approaches must first aim at assessing such risk using a whole city approach. Only then will we have the necessary qualitative and quantitative data to properly inform robust local government adaptation planning and action. The biggest learnings are that we must not rush climate change adaptation policy and action, and ensure that we take the necessary time to do it once and do it right, with community sitting with equal power as other key stakeholders and staff in driving decisions and outcomes, and included as an equal partner in the consent process. We know there are solutions that could be built today, but it is the funding prioritised long-term plans that will determine when we all remove the risk for our city with the projected sea level rise of an average of less than 1 centimetre a year, up to a metre of sea level rise possible over the next 100 years. At South Shore, we realise the importance of managing erosion of the New Brighton Spit as our whole city's protection from the Pacific Ocean. It is so important that the time is taken to evaluate the adaptation work to date, and that we ensure that we take the learnings of past mistakes forwards as new knowledge continually improving our adaptation work. We have 2 important points that we ask you to consider today. 1, removing the current use of the outdated 8.5 RCP by you, our local government, in the measuring of local risks and hazards baseline data, following the recommendations from the IPCC itself and lead scientists that RCP 8.5 is not to be used by local government because of the high levels of uncertainty in its climate change projections. The 8.5 worst case possible scenario based on zero change in human behaviour over the next 100 years is impossible, considering the rate of change and innovation possible over the next 100 years. And 2, The most significant issue that hinders support for council progress and climate change engagement is low levels of trust and participation of most of our city's population, caused by the continued use of a fear model preaching doom and gloom of worst case, uncertain possible scenarios in our local and government engagement models, continuing the damage to our collective health and well-being. Instead, we must change the conversations to empowerment models of engagement. It is time for innovative thinking and a new approach. We are a visual society that demands bite-sized, high-interested and highly flavoured chunks of information. We need a novel, exciting and fun approach from local government engagement that uses a city-wide reduction of emissions publicity campaign with clear, concise messaging that provides every resident the understanding of the issues we face, and that also includes empowering information of how each of us together can succeed in making the necessary changes daily in our lives that will succeed in driving emissions down and securing our future.
Okay, Marie, your time's up. Are you nearly there? Can you just wind up?
Yes, it's just this bit here and it's on huge writing because I haven't bought my glasses. The rate of success in reducing our collective carbon emissions is dependent on taking the people with you by changing current adaptation process and stopping the current inequity of consultation and submission processes that favour the personal agenda of only those with privilege ahead of the majority of our population. The most repeated message from Christchurch residents is, I care, but I don't have the understanding to be able to contribute. Please, as you consider our LTP's funding, place importance on your decisions that will either fail or succeed in achieving the necessary empowerment of our citizens to understand the need for changing our human behaviour, and so empower all of us to do the necessary work to drive emissions down together as a united city, achieving certainty of our future as Christchurch.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay, so Claire Marshall. Oh, so Jack has